All right, I'm bringing this up again. So once again, hear me out. So in all of Prithian, there's the courts, right? Got the dawn, day, all that. Why is there not a dusk court? I still think there should be one, and I have a theory, a book theory, that it's totally should have been the under the mountain with that evil hoe, what's her face? Um, that Tonka truck was like trying to. It's like the
Amarantha?
last High Lord. That bitch. Yeah, that one. Yes, I think that was probably the original Dust Court. I mean, look,
I mean,
listen.
technically, I think it's still a part of the Night Court, though.
Yeah, but you don't see Dawn Court and Day Court next. The same court. No, but why does Night Court and Dusk Court have to be? I'm just saying, if there's gonna be a dawn, there needs to be a dusk. Ain't that right, Violence?
Oh
Yeah,
God.
sure.
Well, this is Violet.
Hi, Violet. You.
I mean, I understand. I see where you're coming from.
I'm just saying it, and think about it. Think about it. Think about it. It could be another, hot Daddy Resand. Might be a 2.0 version of Daddy Resand. I'm just saying. That's all I'm saying. Just putting it out there. Sarah J. Maas could, I don't know, look at a video. That'd be great. I'm just. There should be a desk court. That's all I'm saying. I think the red light's on. The red light is on.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
I'm not that
totally not going to totally not gonna have Violence to have a couple of extra treats so she can fart in the staff room again. What?
We're gonna
Because
keep
then it
losing our
tells about the red
staff,
light
bro.
again. What? I know. At this point, I think the network is gonna kick me out. I'm just saying, it's gonna happen. It's gonna be like just replace, just like I don't feel so good, Mr. Stark, and then just gone. You know what I mean?
Well,
I'm Aqua.
I'm Elvish. Welcome to Night Court Narrative.
Wait. This time we're gonna do it right. Spoilers ahead, people. Okay, continue.
Okay.
They gotta know. I'm just saying. We always say spoilers at the end.
We
for
do.
Once,
We
yeah,
do.
for once
It's
we're
so
doing
bad.
it before. Yeah, we're doing it before we even talk about the book. Even though we gave a huge hint. Prithian, Sarah J. Maas, the Dust Court.
Oh
yeah.
my. Well, I guess small disclaimer.
I have so much for this book. I'm so I can't contain it.
Oh my God.
I am vibrating.
Know.
I'm vibrating.
I know. I read it yesterday, so I had to wait a whole extra day. Well, I reread it yesterday technically, and I'm just like, oh my God. But very small disclaimer, super quick. We have some information towards the end of this episode, so you have to stick around. You have to stick around. You have to. You have to. But
I'm gonna gasp with an accent, and I'm gonna say gasp in Hispanic. Dun dun dun. There we go. I did my bit.
I am dead. Well, today
what?
we are discussing A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J. Maas. This is the 5th book in the ACOTAR series. If you don't know, this series is, well, my all-time favorite, but his almost possibly all-time favorite, but he also juggles it with Fourth Wing. So
it's so hard. Both are so good. And I've only read the first book of Fourth Wing. Or, well, obviously, because Fourth Wing is just one book. But only the first book of the series. And right now there's 3. There's Fourth Wing, Iron Flame, and Onyx.
Which Onyx actually just came out a few months ago, so...
I know. I'm so excited. Sarah J. Maas needs to hurry up and get the rest of these books out.
Honestly.
I'm dying.
Oh my God, honestly.
So today marks the day where I finally finished Silver Flames. And the funny part is, I have technically reread this book, or started and never finished this book, like 3 times.
Facts, actually, yeah. Because there was
Yeah.
actually a point, I believe it was last year. I had the physical book. I found the PDF version online for Aqua, and then we sat in a Discord call together and we took turns reading the book to one another. And I think we got to like chapter 54, and then just life caught up with us and we just didn't read it.
Yeah, we get to finish it. But counting that, and I will say, I think I've actually done the entire series twice, or
Yeah,
twice now.
same.
So,
Yeah.
mhm.
I'm ready for a third time. I'm so ready for a third time.
Yeah, there
We
is a
actually
specific
Oh,
YouTuber that I love,
yes.
the Hag, and I love her and hate her at the same time because she has spoiled audiobooks for me. I cannot do um
Oh, I need to listen to
Akatar
her
without.
version again. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and about a few days ago, she uploaded more. She's finally getting back on track. She went all the way up to, I think, like 68.
Of Silver Flames?
Yes.
Oh my god. Yeah, because
She added more, so she's getting back into it.
yeah, so whenever I last saw it, I'm actually gonna open it right now. I want to look at it. When I last saw it, she was only on like chapter 3 of Silver Flames.
Yep. So she's almost got the entirety of Silver Flames. So she's getting back on track, which is great.
And that's her final like side YouTube channel, right?
I think so. As far as I know, it is. Yeah.
The one where she's like sitting in a chair or something.
Yeah.
I'll have to. Oh, see, the thing that sucks, I want to tag her so that other people can experience her, but at the same time, YouTube has taken her videos down so much that I
I
don't
know.
want to like bring
kinda
attention to
scared.
her.
Yeah.
Wait,
Because
I
they're so
don't.
good. She's done so many changes, and recently, what she has currently at the moment has stayed for quite a while, longer than her first iteration. So
Wait, I
I
think
don't know.
you
I'm
have a
afraid too.
different. I think you have a different channel. She doesn't have any Silver Flames on the channel I'm following her.
Oh, yes. Okay, yeah. You're right. You are right. You're right, because she had to get rid of her old one because of the whole thing with
Well, because
the tubes.
I have this one. I'm sitting it. Okay, I have
Yeah.
that one. So send me the other one, please.
Hold on. No, that should be it actually.
No, I don't see any Silver Flames on there.
Hold on.
She has an Akatar playlist, and there's only 4 videos.
Okay, that's because if you go to the playlist,
Right, there's only 4 videos.
it says Silver Flames.
No,
Yes.
no. Oh, yes.
Yes. I was about to say, scroll down. I was about to say scroll down. I'm looking at it right now. Yes, she does. Silver Flames. She had the most issue with Silver Flames, so she had to do that. She had to do that very specifically.
Oh, shit. Okay, sorry. Okay. Well,
Yeah, it's all the way to 68 now, which is fabulous.
holy shit. Well, it's actually almost done because I think there's only 84 chapters, so she almost has it completed. Well,
Yeah, she did a big chunk, like
She
61
did.
to 60.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
still so good. So very
Well,
good.
I need to listen to hers because I did the audible version of it this time, and I do not like the narrator's voice.
Yeah, I finished it. I found another YouTube channel that had it, but it had it in the robot voice. So I'm like, this hurts so much. I was just, it was a struggle, but I willed myself because I wanted to finish it. Especially for this episode. One, because
Yeah.
it's my favorite series. It honestly is. I'm honestly thinking that this will be a series that I will always like recommend for like fantasy and like romance and all that, along with Fourth Wing. But I think this one will probably like the first one that's always gonna be like in my mind. You know how like you always have like that one
Right.
that just comes first right away, and then the next one is like the right after is like the second one. Does that
Oh,
make sense?
absolutely. No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So that's what I'm saying. So like this like Akatar is just just the first one I would always think of, because when people do ask me about like fantasy, Akatar always comes up first, and following that would be Fourth Wing. You know, and then I start thinking about Crescent City, and and all that and all the other ones too as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I dropped it. Okay. Well,
How dare you? You dropped it.
well, today, as mentioned, we are talking about the fifth and, as of right now, final book of the Akatar series. There are 2 more books coming in the series, but I swear she likes seeing all of us suffer because there is no idea of when a release date's gonna drop, but that's fine. Um,
Yeah, it's not like we're hurting. Nothing like
right?
that.
No, honestly.
Yeah.
So this book is a book actually all about Nesta. If you watched our last Akatar video, or if you even read the 4th video on your own, you kind of know that even though it is kind of like a Christmas novella, we do kind of see a little bit on how Nesta and Cassian's story evolves into something which eventually turns into this book. I will start off by saying I know we always do the summary and I know we're about to do that and everything, but I will say this book is in third person POV. I personally did not like it. Not the book. I let me start by saying that.
I was about to bring out the
No.
Glock.
Let's just start there. I did not, because okay, the thing with this book, Akatar is about Feyre. Anytime Feyre is talking, it's I, me, whatever. But if once Nesta starts talking or Elaine starts talking, it's she, her, anything like that. So you only ever get first person POV whenever it's Feyre. I don't know if you've noticed that. But
yeah, I did notice that, yeah. But I guess I got
yeah.
used to with knowing that it's Nesta and knowing that it's not technically the MC. I guess it didn't really bother me, if that makes sense.
I mean, it didn't bother me once I got
But you
used
were
to
still
it,
used to
but
it. Yeah.
right. But I guess for those who like the summaries and need the summaries, as mentioned, we have our female and male main characters, which are Nesta and Cassian. We do have side supporting characters, which is the inner circle of the Night Court. Obviously, that's a lot of people. We also have Gwen and Emery, but then we have little side extras, which is Lucian, Helion, Eris, Tamlin, and Vasa. Which, not too much with her, but still.
Still there.
Yeah. Longest story short, because this is an 800-page book. We start the book, we discover that Nesta is not doing so hot. She lives in the slums of Valaris, drinking herself into oblivion every single night, bedding a different fae every single night, and it just isn't really going that well. So Feyre and Rhysand end up sending Cassian to bring her to the house, and they basically say, enough is enough. I'm tired of seeing you waste away. It looks bad. This is a paraphrase, but Feyre even said something along the lines of, how are people going to trust us to run this court if we can't even manage to keep a hold of you? And, that kind of hit hard as well. So Feyre ended up deeming house arrest, sending Nesta to the House of Wind, where she is to reside there, train with Cassian during the day, and then work in the library with the priestesses at night. If Nesta has any desire or will to go out for a drink or to dead another fae. She is not to be winnowed in or out by anyone in the Night Court. She has to then go down 10,000 flights of stairs in order to get to Valaris.
And that's not an
Um,
exaggeration either. It's a
no,
literal
10,000.
10,000. Yeah,
Yeah, like
just FYI.
literally. Yeah, literally. Which, I mean, she tries it. At first, she gets barely 100 steps, feels like her lungs are collapsing. She can't do it anymore. Um, you know, eventually 500 steps, 1,000 steps, 5,000 steps. Eventually, yes, she does make it down, and absolutely proud of her, but it's a struggle. Of course, at the beginning, Nessa does this whole teenage angst thing where she doesn't really want to train with Cassian. She kind of sits on the sideline, crosses her arms, and just broods in her own angsty angst. And,
Pretty much like a teenager.
yeah, pretty much. She's like, I'm not doing this, whatever. She does end up working in the library. She ends up meeting Gwen, which is one of the priestesses. I absolutely love Gwen, by the way.
Oh, loved her. Yeah. Her and the next person that we'll meet too. That should be.
Yes.
I love them. They're really good. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm putting a little tangent for real quick. I have to say those two characters are amazing, and because of that, I really hope in the next books we get the shadow ladies, the wraiths. I really hope we get more of the wraiths.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Absolutely.
sorry. I'm
No,
sorry.
no,
Continue.
no, no, no,
I
no.
just had to put that there because I love this book so much. So, anyways, continue.
Yeah, Nessa is here training. The priestesses, they don't really see daylight very much. They're all unfortunately heavily abused and kind of like thrown away. So Rhysand holds them in the library as like a safe haven for them, if you will.
Their sanctuary.
Yeah, so Nessa ends up putting up a sign up sheet for people to come and train with herself and Cassian. Obviously, that doesn't go well. She doesn't get any sign-ups until one day Gwen decides to show up. We do, if you remember in the 4th book, we meet Emery. She is a little shop owner. Her father ended up dying in the war from the 3rd book. Nessa does end up going back. They become, kind of friends, and she invites her to come. Obviously, there's fight that's put up there as well. Eventually, Emery does come in, and you have the 3 musketeers, if you will. The house is absolutely phenomenal. Nesta and the house, they build a very strong bond and very strong relationship. They kind of have a good respect for one another. And I know that sounds so crazy, but the house listens to her. The house responds to her. If you know anything about Nesta and you know Nesta's trauma, anytime a fire turns on, the crackling of the fire reminds her of her dad's neck being snapped in the war. So it's even at a point where Nessa is like, please, no fire, and the house will extinguish the fire. So just stuff like that. Even when Emery starts bringing her favorite spicy books, Nessa will read it and then allow the house to borrow it so that the house can then read it as well. And I loved that so much. Continuing on, we discover that Nessa is being used to discover the dead trove, which is 3 items. It's a crown, a mask, and a harp. This is just a paraphrase version because, like I said, it's such a big book that if I did every single detail, oh my god, we would be here for like 10 hours.
I mean, at this point, we might as well just read the book to you.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So they end up going to the Bog of Ore, I believe.
I think it's like or something like that. I don't know. It's a crazy name. It's like an easily spelled name, but crazy.
Yeah, it's the Bog of Ore.
Yeah.
Um, even Shadowsinger, which is Azrael, this is the
Mm.
first time I've ever seen him kind of uneasy. He's a little bit not okay with being here. The bog is not a good place. There are creatures called the Kelpie that live in the water. Eris, from the Autumn Court, ends up losing a good handful, and I mean like thousands, I think 2,000 to be exact, of his soldiers. Inside of the bog, these soldiers come out of nowhere and start attacking Cassian and Azrael, but it is said that the soldiers are not in their right mind. So let's say like oh, I
They're
just lost
basically
the word.
mind control.
Like
They're mind control.
hypnotized. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Nesta ends up going off on her own because she can hear something calling to her, which ends up being the mask. She gets sucked into the water by the Kelpie. The Kelpie's fighting her. She ends up finding the mask, puts it on, and in the paraphrase version, every fallen soldier in the water comes to her aid, and she beheads the Kelpie, walks out of the water with the Kelpie's head in her hand, and all of the soldiers walking out of the water with her.
Mm. Basically, she
Um,
becomes master. She basically becomes like a necromancer.
yeah,
She just controls. She controls the dead, basically.
yeah, because we find out that her name is Lady Death. She is quite literally death. She literally death. So then I guess fast forward, we do find out that Feyre, congratulations to her, she is pregnant. Unfortunately though, we do find out that her baby has wings, which in the Fey world, human women do not have the anatomy built to push wings out of their birthing canal. So the baby will...
Because I think for the nuances, I think it was because when Feyre and Rhysand did the hoinky doinky, Feyre was kind of like in Illyrian body mode because she had the... I think she had the wings now. Yeah, she's shape-shifting because it's part of the powers that she has. And she was mid-shape-shift when she did the hoinky doinky. So you got Praegers doing that part. So the baby thus become part Illyrian, just like Rhysand.
And unfortunately, the baby gets stuck. The baby could either die or Feyre or both. So that's kind of where we're at right now. Eventually, she does learn this, and not from Rhysand. Unfortunately, it's from Nesta out of anger, and she does eventually apologize. But, the Three Musketeers are working on joining the Blood Rite. If you know anything about ACOTAR, you know the mountain with the 3 stars, that is Ramiel. It's kind of, imagine the Hunger Games. They get knocked out, they wake up on opposite ends of Ramiel, and you have no food, no weapons, no anything. You have to fight your way and survive to get to the very top. If you get to the very top, you are officially considered a warrior. So they do that. Unfortunately, Nesta does have to stay behind because, baddies come by and she's protecting her friend. So she stays by. This whole ordeal with Cassian, we'll talk about that, happens. Yeah. So they end up coming back. They have the winter solstice. She ends up dancing with Eris to kind of make Cassian a little jealous. Eris ends up wanting Nesta's hand in marriage, which is weird. This book is very, 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 very spicy, by the way, if you guys didn't know. And then, I guess to end it off, Feyre unfortunately goes into labor 2 months early. It's not going well, as you could imagine. So as Feyre is quite literally bleeding out, dying. Nesta puts on the mask, the crown, and picks up the harp. And they talk to her, so she's like, "What do I do?" The harp says, "Strum the last chord." So she does, and basically, as death is about to touch Feyre, all time stills, and you have Nesta walking through the room of everything still, and she basically tells the cauldron, "I will give you all of your power back if you just save my sister, the baby, and Rhysand." Because if y'all don't remember, Rhysand and Feyre have a pact. If one of them dies, the other one dies with. So once Feyre dies, the High Lord dies as well. But Nesta ends up doing that. Which she actually does one more thing. I'll tell you that in a second. But Feyre is fine. Their baby boy is fine. His name is Nyx. Rhysand is fine. Everyone is healthy. And then, we discover that Nesta and Cassian are mated. Nesta also asked for one final thing in the cauldron besides saving her sister's life, and that was the reconstruction of her anatomy as well, so that when her and Cassian do decide to have babies, when they are born with wings, she is able to push them out without harming herself or the child. And then Cassian and Nesta end up sealing the deal. They ended up getting courted, and they are married. They are mated. They are together. And very, 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 very final thing, Nesta finally goes to her father's grave and thanks him for everything that he did for her. The end.
About goddamn time.
Oh, that was long. I'm sorry, that was so long.
But there's still a little bit more there, though. We did have that whole thing with they did the blood rite, which was which was kind of forced. I'll add that little tidbit, which would definitely convince you guys to definitely go read the book, because you definitely should. It's really great. Love it. Best book ever. I know the best book, and that is the best book. And so they find Eris had been captured by Queen Brialyn. I think it's Brialyn, right? Brialyn? Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, that sounds right. Brialyn, that bitch. And so, turns out Eris was under control by the crown. Okay. And pretty much was a trap this entire time. Crown Brialyn's like, haha, you fell for my trap card. And so, long story short, they finally meet Koschei, one of the other death gods, or death gods, right? Yeah, one of the three, because there was the what was her name? The one that was in the cabin, the lady in the cabin with the hair.
Weaver?
The Weaver, yes, the Weaver. And then we had the Bone Carver, and now we have Koschei, the creature in the lake. And so those three were basically death gods. And so they finally meet Koschei. Koschei is pretty much tying all the strings and this, that, and the other. And so by the time everything was all part of her plan. So once they back with Nesta and the gang, the Tree Musketeers, by the time they get to the point of Ramael, turns out that it was all part of a trick to basically have revenge for Queen Brianna to have revenge on Nesta for basically making her old.
Yeah.
So they really blamed her for being ugly. Pitiful.
Which I'm going to only intersect one thing. I'm so sorry. Or interject one thing. In Prythian, even though it used to be, because Morgan used to be a warrior as well. Nowadays, it's not common for women to be warriors, by the way. It's actually looked down on. So having these three in the blood rite is huge. It's to the point where
super offensive. It's offensive. Yeah.
because it's to the point where if a woman is on her period and she touches a weapon, those weapons get burned, basically. Or if a woman touches a weapon in general, they get disposed of. So, like, having women like in the blood right was already like a huge monumental accomplishment.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That is actually a really good point because it plays in on like the importance of all that as well
Right.
because it's a huge thing. Not to mention, not very many people actually completed or survived the blood rite in general,
Right.
and 2 out of the 3 musketeers managed to make it.
Yeah.
Nesta did not make it. She was too busy dealing with Queen Brialyn, and just in time, And the worst part is that Queen Brialyn managed to take Cassian. She took Kaz and controlled him and nearly got Cassian to kill her. But she wasn't specific, so he stabbed himself in the heart instead.
Yep.
Which really screwed me up because I thought he was dead. Turns out he was just fucking with both of them.
Yeah.
Because it was never specific on who's supposed to get killed. When Queen Brown says kill them, just say kill. Okay, well, kill myself because not kill my mates.
Right.
And all that stuff. But yeah, Nesta goes full on Super Saiyan. She turns itself into
Oh my
basically a
God.
magical nuclear bomb.
Oh my
and,
god.
Does the unalive.
No,
on
okay. Do you
reality.
guys remember? Sorry. Do you remember the Avengers where Thanos snapped and everyone turned into like dust?
Yeah.
That was Nesta. Nesta in this case was Thanos. She literally was like bet and she fucking raged and oh my, she went fucking whole like Super Saiyan Hulk and fucking snapped her goddamn fingers, obliterated.
Pretty much, yep. Exactly. It was amazing.
Well.
But yeah, and that's how they got the crown. And then everything else followed it. But yeah. There is so much to this book.
Well.
There is so much.
I guess I'm gonna get the super unpopular opinions out first.
I'm gonna get the block down. Just gonna pet violence. Just gonna pet violence.
Okay.
No.
Me personally. You guys know I fucking hate Nesta. If I had to choose in a room between Nesta and Dane, I'm choosing Dane. I don't fucking like Nesta. I don't like her. I don't like her attitude. I don't like her personality. I don't like her mindset. I don't like Nesta. I don't like her. This book is 800 pages long. I'm gonna just be so for real with you right now. This book is 800 pages long. She doesn't snap out of her teenage moody angst until about 630. You have to go through an entire book of this insufferable, cunty woman. She is absolutely horrible. It doesn't matter how much Cassian bends over backwards for her. It doesn't matter how many times Cassian lifts a finger to help her. She is so disgusting to him, and more so to Feyre. And then it even made me so upset, like halfway through the book. Nesta had the audacity, the absolute audacity to take all of her anger out on Elaine. And now if you remember the first few books, Elaine had Nesta's back more than anyone else. It didn't matter who fucked them over, what happened, it was always Nesta and Elaine. And she had the right, she thinks that she had the right to go out and belittle and berate her sister and blamed her sister for their father's death. First of all, if anyone Now, I'm not saying this is true. I'm just saying if anyone is to blame for their father's death, it is Nesta herself. She wouldn't get up. She couldn't do anything to protect her. It's not Elaine's fault for showing up a minute later. It's not her fault.
Not to
And
mention her refused to practice her magic, her powers and things like that. If she had learned how to use it,
right,
at least it's a tiny bit, there could have been a good chance to where that maybe, could have stopped it or something, or
right,
perhaps maybe even learn how to heal him, because if we were to go with that train, um, there could have been a point to where she would have known how to heal and still kept all that power.
right. And that's the thing too, because like Nessa decided she no longer wanted to train with Amryn. It was no longer worth it. She wanted to go around, be moody as hell, drink, and everything. And don't get me wrong, I understand. I get it. And like we kind of talked about it in the last episode, like the last Akatar episode. We never want to downplay anyone's trauma, but the thing is, Nesta was thrown into the cauldron, was made into Fae, and technically it ends there. Everything happens afterwards. Like the war, yes, but it basically ends there. Now, if we go back to Feyre was forced to work from God knows when, not only protect herself, her two sisters, her dying mom, and then eventually her dad, had to then live out in the Spring Court with Stockholm Syndrome and the abuse that happened there, then had to go through everything else that happened with Under the Mountain and, whatever. Everything happened.
And all that as a human, mind you.
Right. Even when she did turn Fae, everything and anything that could happen always happened to Feyre. And the one time that Feyre decides to lift her finger and help, you don't understand. She understands more than anyone here. And I did read online that someone said that Feyre locking Nesta up in the House of Wind is exactly what Tamlin did to Feyre. Wrong. So wrong. Because
because what Tonka Truck did, I know exactly where you're going with that, because Tonka Truck gave Feyre no freedom. Feyre never took away her freedom. She told her that she can leave whenever she wanted. She just has to work for it.
Well, and that's the thing too. The thing is, Feyre didn't enclose her and didn't kidnap and like whatever. Feyre basically sent her to an involuntary rehab.
Pretty much, yeah.
So, first of all, this book was incredibly hard to get through. Was it still just as good as the others? Yeah. Was it like I don't like Nesta. I don't like it. And when this book is nothing but Nesta and you have 600 pages of her just being fucking insufferable is the only word I can really use to describe. It was a very hard book to get through, and Cassian didn't deserve 95% of what happened to him and was said to him. And I don't know,
You really didn't like Nesta.
No, I don't like Nesta, and I have a lot more to say, but I know that you like this book and you love Nesta, and I don't want to like be that person, but if you're not a Nesta person,
I'm a big boy, I can handle it. And to be honest, I do see your point. I get it.
Now, however, I will say though, the last 170-ish pages, Nesta was actually a pretty decent person, and I really loved her growth. Her character development was phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. It was night and day. It went from me hating her to like never wanting to read about her to be like, oh, okay, wait, hold up. If this is the Nesta we get, okay, give me another like 5 or 10 chapters. I'll read about it,
Yeah.
It was phenomenal. But
As long as you loved her character growth, I'm okay. I'm
right,
good.
her character growth was great.
Hmm.
However, I don't personally think, and this is not just Nesta, not just Nesta, I
Hmm.
don't think any 800-page book, the character should have their growth the last 100 pages. I feel like the growth should be steady throughout. And someone might argue, well, yeah, but she was being nice to Gwen and Emery. Okay, but she was still shitty to Rhysand. Granted, yes, Rhysand was shitty to her, but she was still shitty to Elaine, still shitty to Feyre, still shitty to Cassian. It
Yeah.
doesn't it doesn't work when you're not trying to better everything, you know?
Yeah. No, I get that. Because it's just like, it's very, how should I put it? Because even like with Ray San was didn't like her, he still treated her with respect and did his duties.
At
So
the
he
at
still
the
had that
end, yeah.
respect in but even in the beginning, he technically still had that. One, because it's Feyre's sister, even though he wanted nothing to do but basically to commit the unalive to her because of everything that Feyre was put through, when it should have been the older sister to do it.
Yeah.
She was supposed to help, and she did nothing. And then with all this, like, like he's like basically like, boo hoo, boo me, but Feyre did something about it. She persevered. She did all of that, with everything against her as a human as well.
Well, I mean, and if we're
She
taking away something else too, even though she doesn't really like Rhysand, think about it. Rhysand was also imprisoned and assaulted for 50 years of his life.
exactly.
So they have all been through something equally. So having her selfishly say you don't understand, I
Is a slap to the face, basically.
pretty much, because I'm sorry, I'm not downplaying what Nesta went through, but what Nesta went through versus what like Rhysand went through, it's like maybe 10% versus what Feyre went through. Like, if you're talking about like just the Archeron sisters, Feyre went through 90% more what Nesta went through, but no one ever bats an eye. I was like, oh, it's just Feyre.
No, it's because she made it. She survived. People are like, meh, it's fine. Well, yeah, of course it's fine. She learned to. She figured out how to do it. She survived. She did that on her own.
Yeah,
You know, That's why the mindset's so different, because we saw her go through it. We
right.
were with her when that happened.
My
And so,
only my only other complaint about this book, and then I promise not to complain anymore.
hmm
You know, I loved the other books with how they were, and don't get me wrong, you know, I'm a dark romance reader and I like romance, I like spice. I feel like there was way too much spice in this particular book. Like,
really,
in this book, there way too much. It was just it did
I
not need to it didn't need to be in there. Like, it got to the point where I think the last few like spicy scenes, I actually just like skimmed through it, but I didn't actually read it. I basically would like, okay, oh, that's a sexy word. Okay, turn, read up, another sexy word, turn. And then finally I was like, oh wait, that's not one. Okay, let me turn the page back. And it got to the point where like the last 2 or 3 scenes, I didn't even read them. It wasn't even worth it to me. I feel like it just took away from the plot. I feel like Sarah J. Maas ran out of things to write about in this book, so she covered it up by having one too many spicy scenes.
hmm. Well, I will say, on like the last few spicy scenes, there wasn't a lot of details. It was more like, it's like at first, we did the Hulk smash, and then it became tender, or it was tender and then went to Hulk smash. That was pretty much how Sarah J went at it. Like towards the end, like it was less focused. But I see what you're coming from, because there's still at least like a good paragraph or two still talking about it in detail, if that makes
Which I don't
sense.
even care about the in detail. Don't get me wrong. I don't care about the
Yeah.
details. I don't care about the way that she paraphrases things or like says it. It was just the
Mm,
amount. I
yeah. The
wanted
quality.
more. like we can't go from Mist and Fury, like with the surreal. Oh my god, rest in peace, my guy. With the surreal and like everything to the third book where it's all about war and everything to
Combat and death and alliances being made and Tonkin Truck being a moody teenager as
right
well.
to this
You know,
book where it's sex, mask, sex, harp, sex. Oh, blood right, sex. Like no, I'm good, bro. I'm good. I don't care anymore.
it's like we need more of the blood right. We need more of everything else besides
Right.
that. Basically.
I would have loved to have a little bit more in detail blood right. I would have had a
Yeah,
little bit more in detail. Like I wouldn't have instead of like if she needed more, I guess, plot or something, I wouldn't have cared if she took out one of the spicy scenes and gave like Emery or Gwen a POV in the blood right. Like Emery, whenever she was like taking Gwen, I would have liked to see her POV on that.
each of them spawning into the Hunger Games, basically.
Like I would have liked that.
Yeah, everyone had a Katniss moment. Yeah, no, I see where you're coming from, and honestly, if I were to be able to trade it, like you said, I kind of would be in the same boat too, because I would love to have had more of that, because I really did like Emery and Gwen really grew on me, you know.
Oh
To
yeah.
me, they were almost like main characters, almost.
I mean, they kind
When
of
it came to
were.
yeah, I mean they definitely had their significance for sure. So they definitely had in technicality they were not main characters, but they had main character energy.
Now, I know it holds significance, but in kind of like piggybacking off of what you just said, I
Mhm.
love the fact that they all got together and they made friendship bracelets.
Yeah, and it turned out to be their saving grace too, which was
Yeah.
awesome. Read the book to find out, guys. You should read it. Read the book.
But like, I don't know, it sounds like I'm shitting on the book
It
a
was
lot, but I think with how much you love like the series, I would like to be technical about it because we have two more books in the series. There's no telling if there's rumor that the next book might be in Nessa's point of view again, and then maybe one might be in Elaine's. There's no telling so far if it's going to go back to Feyre. I don't really see that happening. We might even get maybe a Gwen or Emery book. I would love that. But
Mhm.
with that being said, like, I understand as the books go on, the spicier they get. And there's a time and a place for that. I don't know. I don't know. I didn't think,
I
I don't know.
I'm okay. Yeah, I can see with that. There needs to be more of like everything else that's important that's going on, and I'm sure
Right.
relationships are important and too, and like a reprieve, here and there for the characters. Like the characters, they're waiting for stuff to happen, war wise. So now it's just downtime. All right, let's go on a date because now's the only downtime we have. And once the war starts, again, we're gonna need to be like full force. So we better, have our fun, have our, get ourselves ready mentally and blah blah blah. That would make sense to have a spice scene here and too and things like that.
Yeah.
More of the character like preparing for it or trying to enjoy life a little bit before all the bad crap happens.
Yeah.
um you know what I mean? But I would love an Emery or Gwen point POV on certain things. That would be
Yeah.
great. But I wouldn't want it for like a main book. And I really hope we get back to Feyre, because no matter what, Feyre is definitely the main character.
Right.
She's always going to be the main. And don't get me wrong, I like Nesta, but I would rather have another Nesta book if it's more like Frost and Starlight. A kind of like not really a sub book, but I guess I would probably have to say a sub book, since technically Frost and Starlight doesn't give too much on like I like to call it the main story quest. If that makes sense, like the
Right.
MSQ, the main story quest. Technically, Frost and Starlight doesn't really give much. It just provides more of the context. It provides more extra details that just like supports the other books,
Which
especially
I
those
mean,
after it. It
yeah.
provides support to it. And another Nesta POV can act more as a support or just another viewpoint. But I don't think that it should be a main anymore.
Damn, can y'all hear that? Damn.
I heard that. It sounded like you were rubbing pickles together.
Ow. I
like from
know.
Like from SpongeBob.
That was my cup.
Ah.
No, but yeah, this is gonna sound shitty, and I don't mean for this to sound shitty, but like Silver Flames felt like a filler episode.
Youch. But
But
I
like
get it.
it
But I
was
see what you're
good.
saying. It was good. Yes, it was still good, but
But was
it wasn't
it
favorite.
okay? But then this is where I'm at. Like I understand we got the bog stuff, and that scene was great. We got the very minimal blood, right? That was great. Other than that, judging by how the other, let's just go off of, let's ignore Frost and Starlight. Let's just go off of the first 3 ACOTAR books. Did it actually feel like an ACOTAR book? Because not really.
I mean, it's hard for me to say that it's not because of all the like important stuff that happened for it, but I think it's a step book, if that makes sense. It's kind of like a more detailed, heavier lead up book beside than Frost and Starlight, if that makes sense. Like it's a book that's meant to set the stage for the next books that are coming up. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I
It's like
don't.
it's like a primer book versus a full book.
Right, but it has the potential, like, or it has 800 pages. It has full book everything. I think this is actually the thickest book that we have, because next in line is Wings and Ruin, but I think that's only like 700 and like maybe 50 pages. So this is the thickest book that we have, but I
Yeah.
feel like the least amount of information came out of it.
Yeah, because kind of with the stuff that did happen, most of it is just all character development and growth, and actual like main story quests. As like I say,
Yeah.
there wasn't too much that happened. We got the bog, we got the dead troves, and we got the end of Quinbrialin, and the full actual introduction of Cochet when he actually makes a an actual, like, I guess I would say, appearance, because he does technically show up, you know. And then we get, Cassian getting married, and then we have Nyx coming in as well.
Yeah.
And so with all that, that's pretty much the main plots of the story. If we were to go that stuff that matters to the overall, like, overarching, like, main thing, they got the dead trove, right?
Yeah.
They got magic weapons made,
Oh,
but that
yeah.
was, there was that. Can't forget about Ataraxia.
Yeah.
Quinbrial is dead, which does make them have the entire trove. And
I mean, that's pretty much it.
yeah. Oh, and well, I guess Feyre's pregnant and survived the birthing process. And Nesta lost most of her abilities. So in terms of significance to the story plot, because I would say Nesta, her having the power from the cauldron that she took, would kind of be important, because it changed their power dynamics. If we were to look at it kind of like in a tactical view, a strategic view of things in terms of battle. You have your characters that are strong. You have Rhysand, the strongest High Lord of all the courts, right? And then
Right.
now, and then Nesta, with her abilities from the cauldron, before she healed Feyre and gave most of it up, she would be technically the strongest because of how unyielding her power is. But now that that's gone, I mean, that would be the only really change that Nesta brings, besides being able to use the dead trove, because the fact that, she was made by the cauldron still. And even afterwards, she still technically would have some control, from my understanding. At least able to, like, be kin to it, if that makes sense. Like related, like cousins, but because of power made by the cauldron and whatnot.
Right.
But other than that, that's it. There's not much. And all the other books, a whole ton of shit happened. Oh, and Eris is definitely a team good guy.
Yeah.
And may not actually be a terrible human being, or Fae being. And it makes you kind of wonder You remember how we talked about one time about Morgan? I think I'm starting to believe you.
Oh, yeah. I think
Uh, and it hurts me
because
because I like her, and she could be not good.
yeah, because they're really saying that there's going to be a um like there's a rat or like a snake or whatever inside of the night court. I really think
I know. And the way how they say the Morgan and other things like that, just it's like the way that they said that, just that one time, just it doesn't like it seems so unimportant. But I think knowing Sarah J. Maas, being really good at saying things in a certain way at a specific time from certain people
right.
means something. So it it doesn't like it makes it very plausible. Does that make sense?
No, absolutely.
Yeah, and it makes me so mad. Mad because of the fact that it could be true. And I'm just like, oh my god. Why? No.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just ugh. But
Well,
yeah.
um,
You know when a book's really good when it got you this fucked up. I'm just saying. It
no,
got you so
honestly,
messed up that it makes you good.
I I love this book so much. This will always be one of my all-time favorite series. Um, I don't know. I kind of want to just go into the ratings. I mean, obviously, if you have more afterwards, but I kind of just want to do the ratings, you know?
Honestly, I can go forever about this book, but I think this is definitely a book that you have to read. Well, you have to read all of it. You have to read all the books. This one's definitely, I definitely would recommend this book.
Right.
But I guess like for my final thing before we get to the ratings, because I'm definitely ready, and I think you won't be. I don't think you'll be too surprised with my rating, to be honest. But I definitely, I really hope that the next books are we get Feyre back
Yeah.
as the main.
I
Feyre has to
mean,
be back. She has to be back.
I I wouldn't mind one more Feyre, but if we're only getting two books, I wouldn't mind having an Elaine one because I don't feel like it's
Oh
fair that
yes,
we get one, like we get Feyre and we get Nesta, but no Elaine. So I feel like we're going to get an Elaine because you can't have two Archerons without the third. So I feel like
true.
Elaine is already set in stone. I feel
Yeah,
like it.
if at least a side book of Elaine.
Right.
Elaine needs to have a book. I agree, but we definitely need to return with Feyre being the main again.
Yeah.
But yes, we do. I agree. I agree. We do need uh, Elaine, an Elaine book.
Right.
I don't want like I want things to be more or less like Nesta, I guess, maybe, but more with like story plot actually progressing as well.
And I mean,
If that
I
makes
have, yeah. And I mean, having an Elaine story, though, I still stand by my theory. I still do. Because if you originally remember the dresser that Feyre painted, you have fire for Nesta, which was her power overall. Um, and technically kind of points light to Cassian. You have her drawer, which is the night, so night court with free sand. But then Elaine's is all flowers. Granted, her mate, quote unquote, is Lucian, but Lucian is Autumn Court. Autumn
yeah.
Court is nothing to do with flowers. So I really do think that he's covering for the fact that Tamlin is Elaine's mate. I do wholeheartedly
I'm
think that.
I am so for pro as and Elaine.
But then if you look at Silver Flames, Azriel was making Isaac win
True.
multiple
But
times in the book, actually.
I know that is so true, but I'm so conflicted because I could definitely see that. but at the same time, like Elaine just causes Asriel to be more like, I wouldn't say emotional, but a lot more reactions.
Right. Well, and
You
then
know,
in the long run,
I
though, I really, really think, I know I hate to say this, but I really,
mhm,
really think that Elaine would be happiest in the spring court because she not only gets to garden all year round, one of her
yeah,
main goals, if you haven't noticed, is to bake and be the perfect housewife. And that's all Tamlin wants. He wants no one to basically step on his toes. He wants no one to talk back. He doesn't want to have to babysit anyone. He basically wants a wife that will do for him and shut up. And ideally, unfortunately, that's the type of person that Elaine is. She won't back talk like Nesta or Feyre. She won't disregard what he says like Nesta or Feyre. Like, she is the one that would cower. And I mean, at this point, I feel like it feeds her ambition a little bit. She just
mm,
grovels, you know?
yeah. I think we need more of Elaine's like thoughts. Like we need more of Elaine, because honestly, we virtually have nothing besides what we have from everyone else. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think like once we get more like of Elaine's actual like psyche, her mentality, maybe she's doing stuff in the background. Obviously, we don't know about it because nothing of Elaine is really being talked about. She
Right.
gets a little more assertive in Silver Flames towards the end, but then again, it's just not much, you know?
Right.
And so, yeah, I think maybe we just need more of Elaine, and then from there could possibly solidify that theory. But I see what you're saying, though, because Flowers and Summer Court, it makes sense. Or
Right.
not Summer Court, Spring Court. Sorry. It makes sense.
Just the entire thing just makes sense. All of it makes
Yeah.
sense. But I guess for the ratings, I guess I'll go first. Um, I am sorry to say this, but this book has the lowest rating out of all of the ACOTAR books. Every ACOTAR book is 5 stars. Unfortunately, I can only give this one a 4.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I personally, like I said, it had too much spice. And I love my spice, but it was too much in this book where it just took away from the plot altogether. I just feel like there wasn't enough plot. There's 800 pages, but probably only 300 pages worth of plot. It also took 600 pages for her to get out of her moody funk, and that's fine. Everyone deals with trauma in their own way, but Nesta is not a person I want to necessarily associate with, and to be stuck reading a book that long, just constantly like, oh my god, okay, well, I'm already 400 pages into it. Like, when the fuck is this ever gonna get better? You know?
Mhm. Yeah.
Now, the plot that we did get was phenomenal. I loved Emery. I loved Gwen. Absolutely loved Emery and Gwen, like 100%. I loved, like I said, Nessa's character growth.
Hmm.
Do I wish we saw the ending Nessa a little bit sooner? Absolutely. If if the ending Nessa was in the book prior to the 600 pages, 5 stars, 100%. But I
Yeah. You feel like it
feel
takes too long.
right, because I feel like Sarah J. Maas overdid it. I feel like it was oversaturated, and
Hmm.
it didn't do it for me. I like the resolve and everything. I like the resolve with Nessa and Feyre. Um, Nessa and Elaine, they kind of got the resolve, not to what I would do. I feel like we still need to work on them a little bit. Obviously Nesta and Cassian, that was fantastic.
Oh yeah. My boy
But
Cass.
absolutely, I just feel like this book should have only been maybe 400 pages max.
Mm,
personally. So I feel like it was too long for what we actually like for how much content we actually got. So for me, 4 stars.
gotcha. I see what you're saying.
That breaks my heart to say.
Yeah, mine too. Oh yeah, my rating. I was giving the suspense again without saying it this time.
I'm done.
Honestly, I I don't know. I mean, I guess maybe after reading it so much, like more than once, did make me like it even more. I guess because it helped me keep all the details and everything. And I guess when I think of Silver Flames, I no longer think of it as just Nesta anymore. I think of it as Emery and Gwen and Cassian. To me, it felt like it was like, sure, it was very Nesta point of view, but I felt like it was very heavy on everyone else. Everyone else got the spotlight. You know, so I
Yeah.
don't know. For me, I'm giving it a 5, but I still put the other books in front of it, if that makes sense.
No, that does.
If I put things into order, it would be the last one on the 5 list. And I would still have the other books more strong, or like I will hold the other books to like a higher platform than Silver Flames. But I really love Silver Flames still. Mostly because like I said, I couldn't view it as just a pure Nesta anymore because it doesn't feel right only associating Nesta, even though it was very Nesta heavy, don't get me wrong. But I guess maybe the way how I was thinking it, how I was reading it was like, sure, it has like, I'm just saying it again, Nesta point of view, but everyone else had such an impact. It made it rich because of it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I can see
The
that.
Nest, yeah, I said everyone else just gave so much substance to it, and I guess that's why I loved it because again, the side characters, like I mentioned, had main character energy. So it just made it feel like the book was very multi multiplayer, if that makes sense. It's kind of a
Yeah.
weird way to explain it.
No, I
It's
can see
very
that.
multiplayer. Yeah. And I guess that's why I loved it so much. Because you know me, I love world building. I like to see, the other characters shine too. So it marks the personal checkbox for me. And I guess it's kind of more of a biased sort of ranking on this one. But even then, I enjoyed it, you know? The moments where the stuff progressed, like when I thought Cassian was about to kill Nesta, because of Queen Brialyn, it really fucked me up, not gonna lie. I was like, no way, no way, are you serious? I got like really good reactions from it, from what was happening, you know, and all
Right.
that. I guess because I was really into it, that's probably why I enjoyed it so much. And so I have to give it a 5. It doesn't, to me, doesn't feel right giving it less than a 5, but it's still not the hardest 5 unlike the others. But it's still a 5. A soft 5, as I've said before.
Right. Yeah.
And so,
I
but
mean,
yeah.
that's valid, but yeah, I
But I see your
personally
points though. I understand your points because it did get kind of annoying of how Nesta was. Like it was always like one step forward and then two or three steps back, and I'm like, okay, God damn it! It got me frustrated one too many
it
times.
right,
So I
it
will.
did, but not in a good frustration in my personal opinion.
No, the first time, second time, okay. The third and fourth, and anything more past the third got started to get annoying, increasingly annoying. You
I
know,
agree completely. Yeah.
yeah. And so I guess I have a more leniency for that sort of thing. I guess personally, so I was able to be like, okay, that's fine. First time, understandable. She's new to it. Second time, okay, she's had some growth, but it kind of reared its head again. Okay, the
Well,
third
that
time is not
also comes from your bias with Nesta though, because
true.
imagine though if that was like Tamlin or if that was Lucian. Well, Lucian you
Mhm.
do like, but if that was like Tamlin or
Yeah, I like.
something, you would have been fucking fed up with the book.
Nah, Tony the Tiger. Fed up with Tony the Tiger. Yeah. I mean, Toyota Corolla needs to get his shit together. Either get your shit together or just fuck off, basically. Yeah. But I will say, yes, is quite some bias with Nesta, but I did, in terms of her, like I said, like one step forward and like three steps back. I can, in terms of just the character alone and mindset, I can see that happening once or twice, but I expected by the third time for it to be a one step forward, one step back, and maybe an immediate recovery. Like when she was like, finally, I'm gonna accept that she's my mate, that he's my mate. Tomorrow I'm gonna fix this. That should have happened sooner, not
Yeah.
before the whole Ramael thing. But understand as like a story building, it makes sense that I'm about to do it. Gets abducted. I get that part. I get that trope. Makes classic trope. I get that. But it took too long. So I will agree.
Exactly.
I will agree with that. I did not like that part about Nesta, and it kind of like dimmed that character for me a bit. But everyone else that played the part did knock all the check boxes personally that I love to see in a very world lore heavy book. And so that's kind of more where my 5 is coming from, less of Team Nesta, which I'm still kind of am, but I'm just more 100 now that I have that satisfied. I want Favor back.
Right. Yeah.
I miss Favor. I want her back. I want some Elaine and As time. Don't get me wrong. As time. We're children here. And but I need Favor back. I need Favor. I need Raysan. I need that back. I have to have that back. So Nesta had her time. We need Favor.
So
Team
now,
Favor.
um, sorry, my brain stopped. So now
You're good.
I'm wondering, now that uh, we haven't, but as of right now that we've finished, um, the series, what is your all-time favorite Actar book?
Oh, you just had to do that. Just had probably Ruin. I'm torn because I like Frost and Starlight. You know, I like Ruin. I love Thorns. I loved all of them. It's
I
hard to
loved
pick.
all of them, right? The two that I'm stuck between the most is Mist and Fury and Wings and Ruin. Because I loved absolutely okay, so this is the hard part because I loved absolutely everything that Mist and Fury had from beginning to end, stuck, loved it,
Same.
everything. Wings and Ruin, I loved it all, but the main thing you think about, and correct me if I'm wrong, the main thing people think of when they think of Wings and Ruin is the
Hmm.
war. So
True.
ideally,
Yeah.
the last 50% of the book is what people think about. The first 50% of the book, most people can't even remember what half of that book is even about. Not saying us, I'm just saying in general, most people only know, oh, Wings and Ruin, that's about the war, But
Yeah.
the war was one of my favorites. So I'm stuck between Mist and Fury and I'm
And
stuck
Wings and
between yeah, but if I'm going off of the amount that I liked, I think Mist and Fury might be my favorite.
Ah, that's so hard. Cause Thorns and Roses too. The first one was so good
It
because of
was.
everything that happened under the mountain, everything with Amarantha, everything leading up to it. And yes, it's with Toyota Corolla and all that. But it's just like seeing Farah's journey and doing all that as a human provides so much, and everything else just provides even more to it too as well because of everything
Absolutely.
that she's gone through at such a young age. you know, I'd say from impact, I would have to probably give it to Thorn,
Oh,
or to Roses. I have to, for impact, I'm gonna give it to Roses because without it, nothing else could have happened. Nothing else would have mattered without
right.
it. If that makes
That's
sense.
yeah, that's
I
actually
feel
a
like it's a
good.
cop out answer,
No, I
but if you
like
think
that.
about it, it's the first book, so obviously it's a precursor to everything. But in terms of impact, I mean, human did the feat of that did something that not even the Fae could even do. Not
Right.
even the strongest High Lord can do, but a mere human did it against all odds. Sure, she had help, but she still had to put in the majority of the work, the huge bulk of it.
Right.
And it had everything. It had the growth. It had the horror. It had the shock factor. It had all of that. You know,
I
it
still, so
had
going
everything.
off of, yeah, I do agree.
Hmm.
Still going off of the hag, because we were talking about the hag earlier, she
Yeah,
plays this specific sound every time Resand, specifically in Thorns and Mist. She plays this
yeah,
specific sound every time Resand is mentioned. I want to know what that sound is, but I asked in the comment section, and I asked in her specific Discord, and I have never received an answer, but I want to know what that noise is.
So if someone can figure out in the comments, please let us know if you figure it out.
Because I want to know what that is.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. So I guess my answer would be roses.
I think for me personally, I think that's all I have. This book had a lot, but not a lot at the exact same time. I also
Yeah.
think just because it is my favorite series, and I mean yours too, I say go
Mhm.
read it. Please go read it.
Yes,
Please.
please read all of it. Read it all.
And it's like I said in the previous books, there's a trend right now to shit all over A Court of Thorns and Roses because it's popular on TikTok. Don't be a bandwagon bitch. Please read it.
Don't be that
Don't
type of hoe.
don't do it.
Don't do it.
But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Man, it's gonna be a while. It's gonna be a long while until we get another book from Sarah J. You know.
right.
Yeah.
But we do have a special type of book coming soon. There
What?
is a, I guess, fan written version where it's Miss and Fury, but in Resand's point of view. We,
Mm.
and going off of news that we are going to give you in just a second,
Mhm.
focus on the fact that I say we will be doing this
Yeah.
episode. So that's coming here pretty soon, so keep an eye out for that.
Yeah. I can't wait till we do it.
But I guess for our news, do you want me to do it or do you want to do it?
Um, I can do it.
Yeah.
Since it is not to sound so self-conceited or self-centered, it is technically about me. You know.
Yeah.
So I got word from the network that due to my previous gassing incident involving a certain cat of ours,
Oh my god.
I had to make it funny. I had to make it funny. The network has decided to bench me for who knows how long, probably indefinitely.
One of us
But
is
that
about to
doesn't
cry.
mean, yes, I'm holding strong. I'm totally not tearing. I'm a man, god damn it. But yes, I am holding on. But in all seriousness, all jokes aside, um, this is my last day being the official co-host to a Night Court narrative. Now, I will be here as guest starring. So, yeah, we were gonna have someone else here in my chair. It's gonna be warm. Um, I may or may not have farted on this chair once or twice. We're not gonna let that person know. They're probably gonna clean it anyways. We'll just change chairs. But even though I'm not here, um, I will still be part of the Night Core essence. I'll still be there. I will probably be handling production this time because somebody, can't even get drink orders right because I'm over here with my damn coffee. I just didn't even do it right. Anyways, so can't get good help these days. I might as well be the help this time. So
Yeah.
going back to jokes, but no, this will be my last official episode as co-host with Night Court Narrative. Um, for those of you wondering, there's nothing going on. Me and Elvish are longtime friends. We will continue to be longtime friends. She hasn't got rid of me yet. I'm still going to know the
Great.
crap out of her. I'm still going to be doing books on the side. It's just, personal stuff, personal career. It's just, kind of rearing its head. And
Yeah.
I'm just pursuing my career in what I do. The only thing I could say is that I'm in the medical field. That's about it. I'm just pursuing that more. It's becoming, it's becoming a career. It's becoming a passion that I did not expect to really be there. And I have other personal things as well, you know. And shoot, even some of the other stuff that I do, like streaming and stuff like that, I haven't even made the, I haven't even done that. I haven't even technically. I'm so late on streaming. I haven't even done an end of the year stream for last year,
Yeah.
and so maybe I'll be able to pick up that, do like an hour stream, like I used to, because I haven't done it, and I used to, and I liked streaming, but even then, I have my career, you know, kind of kickstarting itself into my life now, and that's something I want to focus on. And so I just don't have the time, and something like this, and I love Nightcore Narrative. The podcast needs people who can really devote their time to it, and I can only devote so much of my time to the point where I'm just too stretched.
Which,
That's the.
it was actually it was a hard decision because ultimately
It
it was my
was.
decision. You know, you know, Aqua and I have been friends for like 19, 20 years at this point.
We lost
And
count, to be honest. It's been a long ass time. We lost
yeah,
count. And so
yeah,
at this point the number doesn't even matter anymore. We just know we've been friends for so long that we kind of forgot for how long, if that makes
right.
sense. In a good way, of course.
But and I was kind of not necessarily going behind his back. I mean, technically it was, but it wasn't ill
Mhm.
intention. But I was seeking co-hosts behind his back, um, just to see if I
Mhm.
had someone to fill, because you know the
It's a big shoes to fill.
it is, and like that's like no joke aside, like or like all jokes aside, like it is,
Mhm.
and I can't trust this project with too many people, and I can't trust. I mean, I know like as you're watching this, we don't have the most views, we don't have the most subs, and that is
Mhm.
okay, but you have to create a foundation to build to create an empire. And I don't trust a lot of people with that foundation, if that makes sense. But
Yeah.
um
You need to find something reliable, something stable, in order
right.
to be able to build everything else on top of it. And
But
so, yeah.
yeah, with how stressed I have been personally lately, and I never really bring that into the podcast. And with how
Mhm.
stressed Aqua has been, we had I wasn't even gonna mention it then, but I think
Mhm.
it was Phantom. We had a really, really good episode, and the first thing out of his mouth was, "Man, that was really fun." Like as soon as we ended the recording, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Fuck." I was like, this has to be it because I needed the quote unquote most fun episode to be one of
It's
the
like acting a
last.
pillow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I need to. But then, okay, basically, I just kind of said, like his career is really important to him. His career is
Mhm.
very, very important to him. And I know that he loves Nightcore Narrative and everything, but I feel like he needs to focus more time on his career. And there's always going to be a place for him here, and I understand that, and he knows that. But I think for the sake of him and his stress, I think it's best that we move forward with someone else, which you actually meet in the next episode.
Mhm.
And she is actually really great, and I really, really think that you guys are gonna like her. Um, you guys get to meet her, but her name is Esper. Um,
I actually got to right before we started recording this. I actually got to do a little hello here and there. Little talk of business, but not much. But
yeah, we actually recorded the next episode first. Um, just because I knew that this was gonna be really sad, and I didn't want to go into per episode all sad, because it's a hello, like welcome to your
Yeah,
new position. I didn't want to be sad, so I was like, you know what, we got to do this out of order today.
yeah. I mean, it's not a it's not as necessarily goodbye from me. It's more of as like passing on the torch. It's the next chapter to
Yeah,
put it in good words. It's the next chapter for an core narrative. Things evolved, and and I can still show up if here and there. In between that, like we mentioned already, we already have another thing lined up for me and Elvis to do, and
yeah,
so every now and then I'll come back. I will still always be with Night Court narrative. It'll still be in my heart. Um, and of course, if there's a specific book, for us, or if for special guests, I will be there.
yeah. And I guess to wrap it up a little bit,
Hmm.
as hard as that was, I'm trying not to cry. Trying not to cry. Um,
Yeah.
I feel like releasing Aqua was the most selfless thing I could have done. So I
Because
like,
even stress could affect us personally too.
yeah,
And even with a good business relationships, people who you know bonds and things like that, and even some of these books, you can kind of see that in some of that there's even a little bit of a leak of real life situations come even into books, even
right,
into fantasy. Some realness can be shown in there, even if it's cheesy. It's always important for those bonds, because without them we wouldn't have nothing.
right.
you know and so, and Elvish told me, you know put me there, definitely put me on the spot, I will say that, but
I did,
nonetheless out
but
of care, and left the choice to me. And so
I
we
did.
she we both agreed that with things how things are, and for the sake of us.
But at
um
the same time, I've
mm,
I've known I've known you for a long time, and
yeah,
just like how I'm the same way. You don't put yourself first
I do
ever.
not.
So that was my way of saying, I am giving you the option. You can leave with no hard intentions right now, or you
Mhm.
can stay and be stressed out, and I will support either way. But if you want to leave, you are more than welcome to. And he was like, you know what? I'm going to take you up on that offer. And this is the final episode.
The final official episode.
Yeah.
And so basically, oh my god, you I'm Nesta, you favored me. You did a favor. Talk about the, I guess I would say, like, timing or coincidence. I have become the Nesta. Well, Nesta situation, I guess, if that makes, I don't know.
Yeah.
Basically, you put me to rehab.
Which
You
I
take me
thought
to the house
that,
room. Mhm.
yeah. And like, we also thought that this was going to be appropriate because if you actually go back, Akatar was our very first episode ever. So it only
Yeah.
made sense that we finished it off. Now, I know there are going to be 2 more episodes. I can't say whether or not Aqua will be here for that or if it will be Esper. I don't know. But I do
Mhm.
know Mist and Fury, Rhysand's point of view, will be Aqua. But as far as that, I don't know what the future holds for either one of us. And
Mhm.
if his career pops off, like I think it will, he might not have time for us little folk.
But I will never forget about the little folk.
But
Besides, someone's got to give Violence the extra treats every now and then to gas up a few staff members.
I'm gonna start hiding those treats.
I better get with Esper and teach her so well the treats are. But don't worry. If anything, if Violence is misbehaving, I'll be taking care of Violence in the background, behind the scenes, not gassing up other studios, things like that. You know.
Well, I guess to
But yeah,
end it off,
it's a very
thank
bittersweet
yeah.
episode. Yeah.
But yeah, to end it off, thank you for being here with me. Um, thank you for being a great co-host and a great friend. And thank you for, sharing a love for Akatar. It was
Yes.
really great getting to read and cherish something like that. And,
Mm.
you know, obviously this is not a goodbye for you and myself because we are still friends. Obviously, you still need to come get your Christmas gifts.
Oh, I
But
know. I have been working my butt off like I no tomorrow.
yeah.
It is so bad. I am a workaholic as well as a caffeine addict. I don't know what I am more, workaholic or a caffeine addict. I'm gonna
Oh
say
yeah,
both.
it's both.
For both. It's definitely both, yeah. But no, but I really appreciate that, and thank you for showing me Akatar too. Because if it wasn't for that, I probably would have never have done Fourth Wing. I would have never like literally getting an interest in books. Um, and so some of the books that Elvish will be doing with Esper, for Nightcore Narrative, some of the books I kind of have in library anyway. So it's not like me and Elvish
Buddy
are gonna
read
never
it.
stop talking and things like that. And um, we're still gonna talk about the books behind the scenes. I'm pretty sure
Yes.
at some point, like, be like, hey, you got this book? And I'll be like, yeah. Did you start it? It's like, I'm about to. And I'll be like, bet. And
Right.
I'm pretty sure we like get a gift or two, about the book. I'm just gonna see you put a gift about like, oh my god, I just gasped, and
Well,
all
it's like
that
I
good
told him
stuff.
today too. Like, we were originally supposed to start doing the Throne of Glass series too. I
Hmm.
invited him to buddy read it with me. I don't know if you ever responded to that. I think we were busy at work, but
Oh yeah,
you should
I
you should
saw
buddy
it and
read
I
it
completely forgot it. Yeah,
because we can buddy read it like before the podcast was ever a thing. I know you wanted to read. I think it was like the Lightlark series with me. I think that's what it was. You can buddy read that
yeah,
with me too, and let's read them together.
yeah.
But
I'll
yeah,
have to if I find them online, I'm so down for it.
yeah,
But I know I have either Crescent City, one of the books from Crescent City, because there was like a bundle deal, and so it's like a 2 for 1, and Crescent City was on the list. I'm like, oh, grabbing that shit, you know. And
right.
I think I have one of the Throne of Glass ones. I think I need to recheck my library. So if anything, if not Buddy Read, I'll definitely still be like reading on the side on that as well. So I still be like, like, did you see what happened?
You're now gonna have
And
to just put headphones in and listen to the podcast while you're at work.
and yeah, definitely. I'll start putting in comments like, "Hey, violence, go fart, and Chris." And so yeah, and so I'll
But
definitely try to pop in
yeah,
on YouTube and try to put in a comment here or there.
yeah.
And so yeah,
Well,
but yeah.
I guess this is the official, as of now, last episode of the original Night Court narrative.
Mm-hmm. And the
But
next episode will be the dawn. This is the this is the dusk.
oh my god.
This is the dusk. I will never not stop saying it, but there should be a dusk court. I'm just saying, there should. Please, Sarah J. Mask, I'm begging you. I'm begging.
Well, I guess
Yep.
as far as I know, because I know we still haven't made a date or a for sure plan for the Resand one. So as
Hmm.
of right now, this is officially the last time this is ever going to be said. But
Yeah.
thank you guys for watching. Again, we are Night
Thank
Court
you.
Narrative. I am Elvish.
And I'm Aqua. And well, I'll be signing off, and you will see Elvis next time with our new co-host Esper. So, Violence, I'm gonna miss you. Even though I'm probably gonna see you in like 5 minutes when we go gas out the staff here in a few moments. But yeah, everyone, have a good night. Thank you for all of you who've shown your support throughout the podcast. please, 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 I hope you guys show some great love for Esper. Um, and continue to show love to Elvish and to the rest and to everyone else here, and violence. Cannot forget about violence still. And please, we would love more subscribers. Share it to the group, share it to your friends, share it to the old lady that you sit next to at the train or the bus station, or that you see in the corner of your room. Share it with them. Maybe they have an account. Who knows? You never know. Ghosts need entertainment too. So share it, like it, subscribe to it. You know, and continue to show your love and support for Nightcore Narrative. But yeah.
Well,
Well,
I can't even sign off with a happy goodbye this time. I'm so sad.
well, that's because it's not a goodbye. It's just to see you later. What'd you think?